Hey, what's up? It's me, your girl E, coming to you today for Saturday's writing session. All right, I'm excited about this month's writing session because we are talking about character development. I personally love character development simply because I love a good character. Any movie, any book, any sitcom, any television show, the character makes it. If you could think of your favorite character from a book, movie, sitcom, just think of that character. You know what they're going to say. You know what the reaction is going to be. Especially when you know the backstory, right? When there's a great backstory, it just makes a lot of sense. We're going to break them all down. Each week's going to be a new topic into character development. All right, first things first, we're going to talk about the and core identity and background. And I'm a little nasal and congested. I don't have a cold. I'm in the city of Pittsburgh, and we have been having blizzards for the past month, um, and it actually been cleaning and dusting, so I'm a little bit heavy right now. So I apologize, but nonetheless, let's get into it. Who is a character at their core? What is the core? Are they someone that's stubborn? Are they someone that's rebellious? Are they someone that's whimsical? Someone that's positive, always see the beauty in everything? Who are they at their core? That's something that you really want to think about. Okay. Um, when I write my characters are predominantly women. I have one book where my character is the main character, the protagonist is a male. That's my book, Another Slice of Pie. Uh, who my character, his name was Andrew Gallagher. At the core was he is just an overall nice guy, right? He wasn't a savage in the boardroom. He wasn't a womanizer. He wasn't somebody that was like notoriously famous. Simply and just a nice guy. Let me turn this down. This is distraction. Okay. So who is your character at the core? That is something that you really want to think about when you're writing your main character. Your main character, as far as the protagonist, the main character, as far as the antagonist, and the main character as a secondary character. Now, can the secondary character be a main character? No, because they're not the protagonist, but they could be the main best friend. It's that voice of reasoning. So once again, think of your famous, notorious movies, television shows that you have watched, books that you have read. Think of the secondary character and their role in the book, and the role to the antagonist, and the role to the protagonist. All right, protagonist. It's been said numerous times. I have said numerous times that protagonist is the main character, the hero of the story. You're not writing an action book, you're not writing a fantasy book. It is the main character, right? Pro means for, right? So this is the character that we want to see win. Okay. We want to see them excel. Your protagonist has to grow. It cannot be at the same place it was at the beginning of your story, because there's no growth. That means you failed as a writer. Because if you think about it, are you the same person you were 5 years ago? Are you the same person 20 years ago? If you are, you actually are wasting your time. Just saying. Okay. So your protagonist has to grow. There has to be some type of emotional or mental development, because they have to go on a journey. Don't think of this as the Hobbit type thing, or the Lord of the Rings type thing, or the Game of Thrones type thing. You could write a basic book about something simple. Your protagonist has to come to an acceptance in their lives where they have to deal with the issues, the challenges, and learn from them and grow. They have to grow. Okay. It's not an option. It's really not an option. So you want to think of your protagonist's personal history and upbringing. This is the character background. Okay. You want to think of where they came from, Did they have a two-parent home? What was their? They had a two-parent home. What was their home life like? Maybe they had a one-parent home. What was their home life like? Think of The Killing Mockingbird. The character Scout did not have a two-parent home. Her mother was not in the picture. Her mother was deceased. She was raised by her father, Atticus Finch, and she had a maid nanny who was the quote unquote woman in her life. Okay. Her upbringing, she was raised to be a nice young girl. She was also a tomboy. That was kind of frowned upon for little girls growing up in that era. But she had what, well, we would call it normal today. But she had an upbringing that was non-traditional, and but she had a kind of a good structure around her. She had a safe space. Okay. Values, beliefs, and worldview. What do they value? What do they believe? And what is their worldview? So you want to think about that. Is your character religious? Is your character someone that has high morals? What's your character's worldview? When I think of this reflection, let me see. Hello. Let me see. Leah Hendricks, 7965. Hello. Thank you so much for joining in. Please like, subscribe, and share. Where are you actually watching from? Type in your city or your country. All right. When I think of the values, beliefs, and worldview, I think of the character Samantha Jones from Sex and the City. I'm a huge Sex and the City fan. I done binged the. Thank you so much for doing that, Leah. Um, I'm a huge Sex and the City. I done binged it numerous times, from the movies to the TV shows, even the reboots. Right? In Cape Town. Oh wow, Cape Town, South Africa. Very very nice. Um, Samantha Jones is someone who values her friendship. Okay. She loves Carrie. She loves Miranda. She loves Charlotte. She loves, she values her time. Do not waste her time, because she is a business owner. She's in public relations. Okay. She does not have any spiritual beliefs per se, right? However, her worldview is, if you do good, it'll come back to you. But she was somewhat of a savage because she moved like a men do. She was very sexually active, very open with her sexuality. She did not latch on to relationships as the typical as a typical woman would. You know what I mean? She did not want to be married. She didn't want to have children. She just loved that moment, that passion. Okay, this is who she was. And if you watch the series, you can see that she tried it. She tried to settle down to be the traditional girlfriend. She tried to be that traditional woman. It just wasn't her. Okay, and as we watch this series, we've learned it. And even when she got with the character Smith, now if you haven't watched the series, it's the spoilers, so I'm sorry, but when she got with the character Smith, adjusting to having a boyfriend, a steady boyfriend, was definitely a challenge for her, right? And she actually learned that it just wasn't for her in the movie, Sex and the City, the movie, right? Now, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. I strongly recommend you watch the series first and then the movie, because you see this so many continuations in the movie that is in the series, but that's just my opinion. All right, greatest strengths and weaknesses. What are their greatest strengths and weaknesses? You could be one of your greatest strengths could be that you're a very giving person, your character. Very, very giving person. And that can be a weakness, because you could just give up, you could give so much that uh it takes so much out of you. Who are you talking to? I'm talking to you, Leah Hendricks. I believe so. Yeah, I'm talking to her watchers and her followers. Uh, Sometimes your greatest strength and your weakness can be it could go hand in hand. Sometimes now you have to learn who to give to, right? This could be your character's uh, strength, and it could be their weakness. Superman, we all know that he was Superman. He was that guy, but his weakness was kryptonite. It weakened him. If you're writing a fantasy, something to really think about when you're writing your character. Defining life moments, and this is something that you will learn in the falling action of your book. Defining life moments. This is the moments where your character has maybe an aha moment and they realize what is truly important and how to bring everything together. This is then will lead to your conclusion. Okay. Defining life moments. I'm trying to think of huh. I'm trying to think of a book. Let me see that everyone has read. I can't think of nothing at the top of my head, but these are the defining life moments. These are the moments, I guess, when you come to a certain point in your life, you value the little things, right? You value the people in your life. You value what's important. What's important, it maybe not be materialistic. It could be just that companionship, that person. This is something that your character has to come to grips. Hi, Build with Hamster. Thank you so much for watching. Do me a favor, please like and subscribe and share. All right, let's get to the antagonist. The antagonist, if you're writing a fantasy, is of course known as a bad guy. Anti is the opposite of pro, so it is against the protagonist. Your antagonist, excuse me, can grow, but because they're antagonists, more likely they won't, because they will continue to think the way they think because they're stuck. How many people in your life there's no change? Think of relationships that you've been in, right? And after numerous times, numerous attempts, numerous prayers, numerous interventions, numerous, like, you know what, it's not working. It could be a romantic relationship, it could be a best friend relationship, or you just got to go your separate ways. This is because when the antagonist does not want to, they don't want to do that shift, that emotional shift, that accountability shift. That's something to think about. Just like the antagonist, you will need the origin story and past conflicts. Okay, where did the antagonists come from? What made your antagonists think the way they think? One of the characters that I actually liked, I'm not going to necessarily call them the antagonist, but it's Miss Havisham from Great Expectation by Charles Dickens. If you have not watched Great Expectations or read the book, Miss Havisham, if I'm saying the name right, it's been a minute. She was left at the altar, so her clocks in her house all have the same time where she was jilted. There's cakes all over the place. Like it was set up for a reception. The setup is still there. It's cakes and foods have grown old and moldy and gross, and there are rats eating it. So it looks a mess. So nothing has changed, and she in the book she's still in her wedding dress. Kind of dramatic, if you ask me, but you kind of get the point. She's stuck, okay, and she refuses to love again. In the movie with Robert De Niro, Gwyneth Paltrow, I think Ethan Hawke, she's a crazy woman now. Is it Lauren Bacall that plays her? No, I can't think of the actress name. She's kind of crazy. She has very dark eyeliner. It's very, I think it's extremely eccentric. I'm here for it because it's dramatic, right? But it's definitely emotionally disturbing because she can't move from that heartbreak. Okay. And what she does is she adopts a young lady or takes in, I think it was her niece. Again, I can't remember. And teaches her to be that broken. Devastating. Children are not born to hate. They're taught. So that's something to think about. Personal philosophy and justification. So the antagonist has a reason why they think the way they think. Okay. But it's your responsibility as a writer to help the reader understand why they think the way they think. It makes sense. Is it right? Probably not. Is it justified? Absolutely. And if you even think in your personal life, some of the decisions that you have made, you are justified to have made those decisions, and you are justified to have done those actions. But was it the right thing to do? That's something on the moral level, the moral conscience. Was it the right thing to do? Okay. And sometimes doing the right thing can go against what is justified. But with your antagonist is going to stay exactly where they're at because they are justified to feel the way they feel. They are justified to move the way they move. They're justified to do exactly what they do. And as the writer, maybe you could have your readers connect to your antagonist. Think of the Maleficent. Before I watched the movie, I read the book. I bought it at Barnes and Nobles, and then I watched the movie. And then Maleficent 2 came out. And we know the story of Maleficent. We know the story of Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. We always booed her, boo, hiss, boo, hiss. But then when you read the book, it makes sense why she cursed the needle. This guy who was not even noble comes into the little fairy forest, befriends Maleficent. They kind of have a little years of flirtation, and then when they got to a certain age, he seduces her, takes her wings while she's sleeping, gives it to the king, and now takes over the throne, and threatens to get rid of all the fairies. So when Maleficent wakes up and realizes she's been violated, she's hurt, she's scorned, she's very, very unhappy now, extremely guarded, and she puts a border, like a thorn type border, around the fairy land forest, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And then when the baby was born, she crashes the party and she cursed the needle, saying that she's going to prick her finger, so there's no way getting out of it. And she'll fall into a deep light sleep, and only the true love can kiss her and wake her up. And since in Maleficent's mind there's no such thing as a true love, your baby will sleep forever. Crazy, but we get it. You messed her over. We get it. Is it right? No, because she, now being the protagonist in this story, she ended up bonding with this baby. And then when she became 16, she tried to reverse the curse. And you can't. You messed up. You can't. So, I mean, again, spoilers if you haven't seen it. But if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Seriously, it's really, really, really good. She's the true love of the young lady. And it was because it was the mother and daughter relationship. Okay. And we see Maleficent change. Protagonist grows. Okay. So the personal philosophy, there's no such thing as true love. And the justification, she is justified to put this curse on the baby because you did me wrong and now I'm getting you back. Okay. Emotional wounds, going back to Maleficent again, she is beyond heartbroken and she was violated. Okay. She was seduced, she was manipulated. So there's a lot to unpack there. Okay. As a writer, you have to unpack that. Take your time to unpack it. Am I saying make it a couple chapters? No. You can simply say that your character went through a emotional abuse. Your character maybe was bullied as a child. Your character may have been rejected as a child. There's all types of ways that you could put it, maybe one sentence or two sentences, and your reader's going to get it. Early influences. I mentioned Great Expectation. I think her name was Estelle, the character that was adopted by Miss Havisham. Her earliest influence is a woman that raised her who was scorned, rejected at the altar. So she was taught to not love, to hurt somebody. So she was taught that. We need that character development. We need that. We need that. We need that, because your readers will be like, well, why are they like this? What's going on and what happened? And we need that. So put it in your book. Okay. Secondary characters. These are my favorite. These are the sidekicks. What is the role in the story? The secondary character's role is to be some type of voice of reason to the protagonist, and even the antagonist. Relationship to the main characters. They can be the best friends. They can be the mentors. They can be the mothers, the fathers. They are the voice of reason. Okay. Background summary. Definitely want to give your secondary character a background. They can. I just recently watched for the umpteenth time Brown Sugar with Taye Diggs and Sanaa Lathan, Boris Kodjoe, Nicole Ari Parker, Queen Latifah, Mos Def. It's a hilarious movie. Okay, hilarious movie, right? Towards the end of the movie, when Mos Def and Taye Diggs are talking at the radio station, and he compares him to Humphrey Bogart. And what Mos Def said, I'm not the Humphrey Bogart in this situation. You are. Okay. He was getting him to understand that he needs to go after his girl. Don't just sit there and take what is given to you. Go after your girl. Okay. Queen Latifah is a secondary character to Sanaa Lathan's character, Sydney. She was even telling her when Taye Diggs was getting married, that's not right. She's marrying your man, the voice of reason. Now, of course, time and place is always something to think about. But again, this is the purpose of the secondary character, to stop you where you're at, to get you to think and to realize exactly what's going on, to help you see where you're at in this or that moment, for you to change your mind or your opinion about exactly what's going on. Unique traits. Does your character have any unique traits? I feel that every character, whether it's the protagonist or the antagonist or the secondary character, should all have unique traits, because every character has to be relatable. Every single character has to be a person that your reader can relate to, right? Mention Sex in the City. I can relate to Carrie. Carrie wants the ambiance of the relationship, the feels. Who doesn't want the feels in a relationship? It's the honeymoon stage. It's the I want to say his name. I want to say her name. She's a writer. She's very idealistic. Miranda is very realistic. She's somewhat cynical. It's like, really get real. Charlotte is the one who was the tradition of the family. A husband, a children, a dog. We come home from work. We hug, we kiss, we eat dinner together. And it's Samantha just wants to be free. Okay. I actually, me personally, can relate to all four characters, right? Who's not idealistic? Who doesn't want to just take a plane to Paris? Just my husband just say, hey, let's go to Paris. Let's go book a flight. Okay, that's right. Who cynical? Think about it. Do I have the luxury, the option to go to Paris? Technically, at this time, no. I got to plan it, right? The tradition of it. I love being married. I love having a family. I love coming home to my family. I love having my family come home to me. Okay. And the freedom. There's days where I just want to be left alone and do me. Right. I just want to sit back and read a good book. I want to go into a restaurant, to a local restaurant with my girlfriends, and just have a cocktail or two, just talk about nothing. The freedom. All right. I can relate to all of them. Okay. All right, that's it for the Saturday writing session for today. Next week, we're going to talk about motivation, goals, and desires. Something to think about. Please drop your comments in there. I love to read them. I will do my best to get back to them. Thank you, those who have watched. Please like, subscribe, and share. All right, you guys have a great, great Saturday.